Okay, on to reading 3, the last one of Cambridge 13. It's a bit different. It's a book review. The happiness industry, how the government and big business sold us well-being. Anyway, don't know what that means. Let's look. 3, multiple choice as usual on the reading 3. Then we have a summary, which is quite common, but this is not good. This is a summary with a box. Remember, there's summary without a box and summary with a box. The summary with a box is more difficult, usually much more difficult. In this example, it's much more difficult than a summary without a box. And I'll explain why soon, and then some yes, no, not givens. So I think we should stick to our usual strategy of doing the summary first. Up to you. All 3 of these question types are very difficult. Not really an easy one to start with, but let's start with this. So, we need to find where it comes from first, so we look for that, and I think we'll look for that. Jeremy Bentham, 1790s. I see it over there, and the date is there, but you've got to carry on scanning a little bit just to make sure. We're looking for the 1790s. There's Bentham, and there's Bentham, and there's 1790s over there. So we're quite confident that it starts here. Probably there somewhere. What do we do next? You can find the end of it, but I don't think you need to. It's best we can just go and find it one by one. Then we look to see if the grammar helps us. But with a box, summary with a box, usually the grammar doesn't help you, because usually all of these are the same kind of word. All nouns, all uncountable, or all adjectives, all verbs. If they're verbs, they're all ing verbs. So the grammar won't help us. In this example, they're all uncountable nouns except there's one plural countable noun. So the grammar is not going to help us, unfortunately. And then we just need to start. Find the sentence. In the 1790s, he suggested a type of technology to improve something for different government departments. In the 1790s, he wrote to the Home Office suggesting that the departments of government be linked together through a set of conversation tubes. And to Bank of England, so that means, and he also wrote to the Bank of England, so this is a different topic now. We're only looking at what did he suggest to the government departments. So your answer is somewhere here. Now I was hoping to see something about improve. What did he suggest they improve? But there's nothing there about improve. So we've just got to look at these words. Improve measurement, security, implementation, profits, observation, communication, preservation. One of those is somewhere in here. This is in inverted commas. It tells you it's probably important information. And he suggested that they connect all the departments with a set of tubes, is like pipes, where they can have conversations through. So is there any one of those words which reminds you of conversation? And that one is the closest. And that's all you have for this question. It's a very, very difficult question. The only thing you can connect up is conversation with communication. That's all there is. There's no grammar, there's nothing else. Please remember, don't write communication. You must write F. I've seen too many students waste marks that way. Next, he developed a new way of printing banknotes to increase something, and also a method. So we just want to stop there. This is something new. He developed a new way of printing banknotes to increase something. Again, I was hoping to see increase, but it's not there. So here we are. He wrote to the Bank of England with a design for printing device that could produce unforgeable banknotes. Now this is just super difficult because you need to know what unforgeable means. Straight up vocabulary question. This is band 8, band 9 vocabulary. Unforgeable. Remember, we're dealing with a box here, so if you don't know it, skip it, and you can delete some easy ones. You must use that strategy, easy ones first strategy, with a box. but I'll just continue with them. Unforgeable means to forge a banknote, means to copy a banknote, to make a false copy of a banknote. Many people do it. Another word is counterfeit. It's a fake banknote. It's illegal. So, if we want a machine that's going to produce a banknote that you cannot copy, what are we increasing? I'm going to delete communication. Are we increasing measurement? Are we increasing security? Are we increasing implementation, profits, observation, or preservation? And I could forgive you for saying profits, because we're talking about banknotes, a banknote is money. We're talking about money, profits, money. I could forgive you for thinking preservation means to preserve or to protect. But in fact, the answer is security. We're increasing the security of the banknotes. And there's not much more I can tell you there. To make a banknote secure means that you make it like it can't be copied. Like your account is secure. You have a password. Nobody else can copy your password. Similar to that. Just a very, very difficult vocabulary question. So with that one, it was probably best to skip it and see if you go on and see if you can find some easier ones. But let's fill it in. What else did he do? He also designed a method for the something of food. Now that might be a bit easier. We know food measurement is possible. Security, maybe. Implementation, I don't think so. Profits, no. Observation, why would you want to observe food? Preservation is very interesting because we need to preserve food. That's why we have a refrigerator. It means to preserve something means to make it last longer in its normal state so that it doesn't go bad. Maybe similar to protect. But let's see if we can find that. So he drew up plans for a frigidarium. This should remind you of the word refrigerator. To keep provisions such as meat, fish, fruit, vegetables, that's the food, fresh. So he drew up plans for a machine to keep food fresh. Keep food fresh. Which one of these is keep food fresh? And we were correct. It was this one, preserve food. It's not measure, security, implement, observation, profit. It's none of those. So you could have probably gone straight to that one over there. When you're trying to find the easier ones first, I would have hopefully gone to G. It means you can delete G. I've used security, but let's pretend we skipped it. He also drew up plans for a prison which allowed the something of prisoners at all times. What are you going to do? That would be tempting, I must say. Security, prison, it goes together. Measurement, you're not going to measure a prisoner. Implementation, no. Profits, no. Observation, you would want to observe a prisoner. Observe means to watch, to see. So if you've still got security there, it's tempting, and that one as well. Let's see if we can find any synonyms. A prison in which prisoners would be kept in solitary confinement, that means alone, while being visible at all times. I remember at all times helped us a little bit. There, at all times. So there is our clue. At all times means visible at all times. What does visible mean? It means you can see it. Invisible, you can't see it. Remember, VIS is often about seeing, like vision, television, VIS. Anyway, so something about visible, something about seeing, watching. So it's not security, it's observation. Maybe that one was also slightly easier because we had the at all times to help us. So that was E. When researching happiness, he investigated possibilities for its. What is its? Its is happiness. For its something, and suggested some methods of doing this. This is all about the prison. That's still about the prison. This is still about the prison. Schools and factories not relevant. So we must, here we go. Also, science of happiness. So this is when he studied happiness. Bentham, this is what you want to focus on. Bentham suggested 2 ways in which this might be done. Suggested some methods of doing this, suggested 2 ways in which this might be done. So what IELTS is testing here is, do you know what this is? If happiness is to be regarded as a science, it has to be measured. And Bentham suggested 2 ways in which this might be done. This is measured. So he suggested 2 ways to measure happiness. I remember we had measured there, it's over there. So in fact, 32, 33 and 34 were slightly easier. 30 and 31 were a bit more difficult. So you could go back to those if you skipped them. Remember with the table, skip easy ones first. And then we were just looking for this one. Let's say we didn't know it was B. That one was gone. So then we've only got these 3 options for B. Maybe you could guess it as security. Alright, as you can see, much more difficult than summary without a box. Right, let's move on. I think we'll do the true, false, not, the yes, no, not given next. Alright, yes, no, not given. These things are very difficult. This is really a difficult reading passage. Even for reading 3, it's very difficult. So first, find where it comes from. Now it's possible that they can go right back to the beginning and start all over again. They can do that. They have done it. But it's more likely they will go on after the summary. So I would start scanning there. What have we got? We've got some italics over here, and we've also got 1915 over here. That will give us enough of an idea. America over there. So we were over here. And quite quickly you can see we've got these italics over here. We've got 1915 over there. There's America over there. I don't see anything else about America. Anyway, so very quickly I'm sure you can see that they're taking the yes, no, not given from here. You can do them one by one with the target language. Let's see if we can see any target language. I'll do all of them. It's not very clear. Some of them it's clear. This one maybe not so clear. I think that is target language. I'm not going to circle them. It takes too much time. But you should circle them. So we're looking to see if it's a strength. Is it a positive thing or is it a negative thing? Does it have this positive thing? Maybe it's target language. It's not clear. This one is definitely quite clear. That's our target language. Is it more difficult? Is it less difficult? Don't we know? This one, no clear target language really. Maybe just on the verb then. Were they supported or were they not supported? This one, it's quite clear. Most influential. They love to do this with TF, NG, yes, no, not given. Was it the most influential? So that's clear target language. This one, nothing. So it would probably just be is it or is it not on the verb again. This one, again, not clear. It could be is it the main aim or is it another aim? And then there is the modal verb. Often they like to target the modal verbs. So pretty difficult. Only 2 of them, 36, 39, have clear target language. Right, let's look. Bear in mind, often they start with difficult ones, but let's look. One strength of the happiness industry is its discussion of the relationship between psychology and economics. So there's our scanning language, psychology and economics. So we're looking for psychology, economics, and psychological. So we're kind of over here. In addition means we're going on to something else. So I wouldn't go on. The main thing here is just to pick up, is it a positive sentence or is it a negative sentence? We've seen this before in true, false, not given. Often you can just guess from whether the sentence is positive or negative, and this is positive. One positive aspect of this is this connection between psychology and economics. So do we find anything positive or negative, or can't we see? And here he says we learn much that is interesting. So that's positive, and that means that this is a strength of this book. It's not very easy. I know, it's actually a very difficult one. The only connection we can make here is it's a strength and it has something interesting. Therefore, it's the same. And therefore, the answer to that is yes. Just because he said it's interesting, which means it's a positive thing, it's a strength. I think a very difficult one to start off with, but that's yes. It is more difficult to measure some emotions than others. So our scanning language will be emotions. In addition, there's no emotions. This is emotions. Inner states of pleasure and displeasure. Inner means inside you, of feeling good or feeling bad. That's the emotions. Very difficult paraphrase. There's measured. I remember we saw measured. That was also scanning language. To measure. So we're in the right sentence, measuring emotions. He shows how the belief that inner states can be measured, how that belief has informed studies in advertising. That's all that we're talking about, measuring emotions. So which one is easier to measure? Can we measure some of those emotions more easily or less easily? There's nothing there about more difficult or less difficult, or easy or less easy, or anything like that. So because that target language is just not there, we must have not given. We don't know which one it's more difficult to measure. Once again, wow, super difficult. Now, here's this man's ideas on behaviorism were supported by research on humans, which, you can have a which over here, which he carried out, which he did before 1915. So he had some ideas about this, and those ideas were supported by research which he did before 1915. We're over here. We could start here. Watson had no factual basis for his view. He had no facts. When he became president, blah, 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 he had never even studied a single human being. So when in 1915, he had never studied a single human being. He had no facts for his view of human action. So he did not do any research before 1915. He had no studies of humans, no facts. That means his ideas were not supported. They could not be supported by the research because the research did not exist. So that must be no, because he didn't do research on humans before 1915. So the ideas were not supported. His ideas have been most influential on governments outside America. Where did they influence governments the most? It's now widely applied goal of governments. In Britain, you have to read all of that, but we're looking for where did they influence the most? I don't see anything. The target language is most influential. There's nothing about more and most, influenced this one less, influenced this one more. Nothing there. So the target language is not there. So again, not given. The need for happiness is linked to industrialization. I would say this is just the target language. Is it linked or is it not? Is it connected or is it not? Industrialization is our scanning language. And there we have industrial over there. Modern societies, industrial societies, need happiness to motivate them in their labor, in their work. Modern societies need happiness to motivate them in their work. Modern industrial societies. So it seems that modern industrial societies need happiness. They do need happiness. So it is connected. Very difficult. And this is probably going to be no, because there's 2, 2, and 1. So a main aim of government keyword, should be to increase the happiness of the population. Should it be the government who increases the happiness of the population? But whatever the idea that governments should be responsible for increasing happiness is always a threat. This is bad, a danger. So the writer is saying this idea that government should be responsible for happiness is a bad thing. So that should not be. The should be is there, but this idea, this should be is a dangerous should be. So it actually, he means should not be. So there should actually be a not over here, because this idea is a danger, it's a threat. So therefore that is no, that is not what the writer is saying. Wow, super difficult. Right, on to the multiple choice. Right, so of course these are probably going to come from the beginning. Let's just take a look. Can we find that? And yes, it's in inverted commas over there. That helps us. There's some nice scanning language over there. Might as well find that now. And that's over there. So the first one is going to be somewhere in here. What are we looking for? We're looking for the writer's attitude. What is his opinion on this whole positive psychology thing? You could take a look at these and just do positive, negative. It's always good to do if you're looking for somebody's opinion, somebody's attitude. Is it positive or negative? This is negative. Over influence means too much. That's negative. A fresh, new approach. That's positive. Ignorant. They don't know. Negative. So A, B, and D are negative attitude. C is a positive attitude. So it's probably not going to be C, because it'll be one of the three negative ones. Now, I can't tell you much here, unfortunately. I wish I could say go to a target sentence or here's some language that you must find, but you need to just read quite a lot. Here, this whole paragraph, he's explaining what positive psychology is and what these people believe, these advocates. An advocate is a supporter. They believe all about this positive psychology. The purpose of government is happiness. We remember that from the yes, no, not given. They say that government should make people happy. It's their job. Governments can secure happiness. But there's no opinion there. Here is his opinion over here in these two. It is a very amazingly crude, uncomplicated, simple way of thinking. This is very negative. He's saying it's a stupid way of thinking. Those who think in this way are oblivious to all of the literature, all of the knowledge. And that's where his opinion is. Basically over here is where your answer will be. Very difficult to find, but you needed to know you're looking for his opinion, the writer's opinion. Here he's just giving you facts and things that somebody else believes. Right, so which one do we choose? There's nothing about Bentham there. Nothing about Bentham there. It is D, and it's all rests on this word. This is a straight up vocabulary, advanced vocabulary. Can you see the synonym for ignorant? Ignorant means they don't know that something exists. So where is ignorant? Over here, and there it is over there. Band 8, band 9 word, very difficult. Ignorant, oblivious. They don't know that it exists. So they're ignorant of all of the literature. They're ignorant about the ideas. This is the literature, the knowledge. So 27D, really difficult. The reviewer, why does he talk about Aristotle? Why does he talk about Aristotle? I wouldn't look at these just yet. That's just going to confuse you. Let's just see if we can see why he talks about Aristotle. He identified with this, and in fact we needed to go to the sentence before as well. For Bentham, it was obvious that human consists of pleasure and the absence of pain. Aristotle thought that happiness was about self-realization. So what he's saying here is that Bentham thought that happiness was about pleasure and absence of pain. However, there should actually be like a however over here. Aristotle thought happiness was about realizing yourself, realizing who you are. And it's none of these. There's nothing about goals. It should be the main goal. It's nothing about fighting for. It's not just an abstract concept. He's comparing Bentham's attitude with Aristotle's attitude. Bentham thought it was just pleasure in the absence of pain. However, Aristotle thought that it was about self-realization. Therefore, maybe Bentham was wrong because Aristotle thought something different. And that's why he introduces Aristotle, to give a different viewpoint to Bentham's viewpoint, to show that maybe Bentham was wrong. So that is A, crazy difficult. And then, as if it's not difficult enough already, they make it even more difficult because we're trying to find this. And we look 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 and we look, and it's all the way down here. So, what do they say about that? Bentham's suggestion for linking the price of goods to happiness was significant. Why was it significant? But we're looking for according to Davies. Davies is the writer. And we're over here. By associating money with the emotion, Bentham set the stage for all of this that would shape business practice of the 20th century. He set the stage for connecting work and psychology. Entangling is connecting here. Set the stage is establish. Establish, set the stage, entangling connection between work and psychology. I wish I could tell you an easy way to do these, but there is not. These are band 9 questions. And if your level is not there, then your level is just not there. So don't be afraid to guess. Save yourself some time. Just guess. Anyway, so that last one was B. Super, super, super difficult passage to end Cambridge 13. Great, thank you very much.